You're listening to Moonhawk Studios Presents. You want to play the right theme song? That's the sound we were looking for.
Whoops.
Welcome to another episode of Fragments of Moonhawk Studios Presents, apparently.
Someone forgot to shift gears.
Yep.
And then decided to go from first to fourth without a clutch.
Clutches for squares.
That's what the pieces of your transmission will look like when you make that shift.
Exactly.
Anyway, driving this ship directly into the ground, as always, I am your host, Mac Paladin. And with me in the studio, as always, is my good and beleaguered friend, Adam.
Hello.
We got Petty Fan in here, mucking it up.
Hi.
The Golix is hanging around here somewhere.
I am, and I'm muting my mic intermittently because I still have coughing problems.
Oh boy. Ogre couldn't make it this week. He has a thing that he has to deal with very early in the morning, and of course he's on the later time, as they say. So we'll go right to Twilight Winter.
Aye.
All right, we have some great guests tonight, but before we get to that, Adam, why don't you start us off with the news?
Geez. News. Well, let's see. Not much to report this week. Well, it's next week that's going to be interesting because I got to take my mom down to get a mammogram.
Fun times.
Yeah. I mean, she got a bit of a notice from her doctor, so we'll see what happens. Like, don't think it's anything, but this is what you do to make sure nothing's wrong. Kind of affected the show, as our Tuesday interview is now happening on Thursday.
And that's next week, right?
Yes, that's next.
Okay, for some reason I was thinking it was like tomorrow. I was like, oh god.
No, it's not tomorrow. No. And that's about it for me.
Alrighty. Petty Fan, what have you got?
Well, I'm going to be doing an interview here in a few minutes.
Oh, don't spoil it now.
But yeah, I've been getting ready for that and been playing video games for those of you who are new, we have another show called Fragments of Silicon, which is gaming related. So I've been
Woohoo!
getting game reviews done for that. And also been playing some games on my own, like some small game called Final Fantasy XIV. Doubt anybody here has ever heard of that.
Oh, no. No.
And just been doing stuff and things.
Mm-hmm. Now, very quickly, just wanted to point out, since Petty Fan made the point indirectly, we do all the interviews with Let's Players, Long Players, and Vloggers here on this program, even if it's gaming related. Fragments of because it's more directly tied to general entertainment, because all of our Let's Players tend to put on a fun little show when they do their when they play their games. So that's why we handle that over here. And Fragments tends to focus more directly on the industry stuff.
Yeah. Developers, publishers, whatnot, what have you.
Yeah.
Right. Alrighty. So, Petty Fan, if you're complete, I will move on to the Golix.
Yep. Next body. I mean...
Hey, I'm not dead yet.
You can't prove anything.
Though I'm starting to wish this cough would get the hell over itself. I've been feeling fine for over a week now, except for the, occasional coughing that makes everybody wonder if I'm feeling a lot bad or still contagious or something, which is no fun. Video game wise, mostly I've been playing Breath of the Wild and been probably staying up too late with that a little bit too often. Little bit it's very engrossing, and it's very easy to just want to keep doing one more thing,
Mm-hmm.
And the Nintendo trap you've been baited into.
Mm-hmm. I actually accidentally broke my Toon Link amiibo, the little bit that attaches the figure to the stand, a couple days ago because I dropped it. But I got a guy at the game store to lend me some super glue, so that's curing right now, so that's good. Other than that, not too much interesting going on a personal front, so I will pass the news baton.
Okay, Twilight, what's cooking?
Not much. Spring's arrived, the weather's warming up, so with the pleasant weather we had during the winter, we're starting to get some ant problems in the house. Figure out a solution for that pretty soon. Otherwise, final preparations for my parents' burial plot, which, for clarification, to get that out of the way right now, they're fine. They're just preparing for the inevitable, basically. Besides that, I've been playing games for Fragments, and been playing Final Fantasy 14, and like everybody else, been also playing Breath of the Wild. And that's it for me.
All right. Well, just to bring everybody up to speed, there's nothing really terribly interesting or educational happening with the Starship Moonhawk film tonight. We're kind of taking a week off in the production before
What some
we
of us
begin
call sanity leave.
Well, I promised Keith we'd take 2 weeks off after the last segment was completed.
Mm.
Creation of assets was pretty difficult, considering the fact that I hadn't broken up or storyboarded any of the original comic, and we're doing things a little differently with Act 1, in that all of the space sequences are being done in After Effects. And we're also changing things up a little bit. Alex and Keith have both come on board with the idea that I'm cutting up all of the comic book pages, and we're removing some of the generic static backgrounds and replacing them with CGI backgrounds. Also, I've been creating animatics, which are not full animations, but basically this is the kind of stuff you'd get as a reward in a Sega CD game back in the day.
Is it still FMV quality, or?
No. Basically, I'm doing what I'm calling Starship Moonhawk Remastered, which is, in some places, I actually have better art that I contracted from a professional artist. And so we're extending the scenes because we're going from a static visual medium to a movie. So we can actually do more with, I was going to say do less with more or something stupid like that, but it's actually more with less or more with more. I don't know. It sounded confusing. But for example, the artist that I hired 8 years ago, Nico Chie, did a bunch of pages in Act 1 that I never used. And so we're taking assets out of that and extending the sequences just a little bit, using some of the better art from there. So it's like we looked at the scenes and said, okay, which one? It's not just a matter of skill, but aesthetic as well. If the character just doesn't look right, or it's like, you've got a really macho character that my version looks very manly and her version looks kind of, I don't know, fluffy, then we're going to go with my version. But there are other times where it's like I just was like, yeah, you know, I got the face right, but then I just stuck some googly eyes on it and called it a day. So if we have sequences like that where it's like the character went like way off model or something like that, and I have better artwork from the other artist, then that's what we're going to go with. Also, I wrote an entire new scene for Act 2 that is going to appear in the webcomic while we're in production on Act 1. That basically brings the entire main cast of Starship Moonhawk and gives them dialogue. And the reason for this is because we're trying to attract a very, very large fish to play Captain Ishido Kamazaki, the chief engineer of the Moonhawk. And so I wanted the character to actually have a semi-respectable scene that was more than just a reactionary scene. Or, you know, just a single one line of, oh, there it is. And it's like, well, yeah, sorry, it's like, sorry, everybody who was expecting so-and-so to be in this film, but all you got was one line. Bye!
It'd be cheaper that way, though.
Well, it would be cheaper that way, but that's also a very good way to not meet your crowdfunding goals.
Indeed.
And that was the only other piece of news that I had related to the film. The Indiegogo pretty much, I think it ends within the next 24 hours, so we did make $500. I've sent out a couple of letters to the people who have vocal roles in the cold open of Space Destroyer Hunter, and we're going to use what little money we did get to make the pre-opening credits cold open. And then once we get that, because there's some pretty good stuff that actually happens in that, I feel like if we can get that done and then use it as a proof of concept in lieu of a trailer, then we may have a little better success the second time around when we try to crowdfund it.
Indeed.
Yeah. Also, I think that donations to our Patreon will go up significantly if we have more content. So that's about it for that on Starship Moonhawk, but I figured I'd bring everybody up to speed. Now, we are going to do something that we have not done for quite some time. Buckle up, kids, because we're about to do an interview.
Oh, man. All right.
Now, Petty Fan, you're the most knowledgeable individual here on this particular matter, and this is your baby, so take it away.
All right. Well, tonight we have Drek and Seabass from the Nest Raid group. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
All right, I guess I'll kick it off. I'm Drek Gamestein on YouTube. I started off about 2 years ago doing Final Fantasy XIV videos with our raid group, just typical shenanigans of our raid nights, and I compiled them all for our group just for funsies. Threw it up there, and after some goading from Seabass here and a couple of the other members, I threw it up onto the subreddit, and people just kept wanting more of the kind of that whole thing, and so I just kept giving them more, and 2 years later, it's grown into quite a thing, so. Seabass, your turn.
Yep, and I'm Seabass, and I'm Drek's favorite punching bag when it comes to healing in the said videos. And yeah,
you're the punching bag.
Yep, you can bet.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, we clearly don't have video evidence to the contrary, right?
I mean, the whole thing is everyone is just enjoying our laughs, pain, and anguish, so.
Yeah, that is true. Though a lot of that pain comes from you towards everybody else, if possible, when Core is not on duty. So, yeah, Seabass is our healer, co-healing with More Valera, who's actually also another pretty prominent streamer for the Final Fantasy community. She's mostly Minecraft stuff, but she does quite a bit there with the economics. And then I, of course, play Monk as the melee DPS in the group. One of the two.
All right. There's two?
My cat is dying here. I'm so sorry about that. Thanks for the hairball, Doodles.
So,
that was fantastic.
So, how did the idea of making videos come about?
Well, I'm video editor by trade. Like right out of college or in my early years of college, I was getting work at my church at the time, and they needed people to do stuff for the youth group. And so the guy there showed me how to record, how to edit, all that stuff. And that went on for a couple of years, and they gave me way too much work to do, like filming and producing and editing and shipping off the TV show every week that they had, and along with all my other duties there. And I was the only one for a long time doing that. So I eventually stepped down, but I had that skill set. And I love doing humor and comedy and stuff like that. That's kind of what I tried to reach the kids with. And then I just kind of, they were talking about our old raid leader in the previous group that I was in with Seabass, and Jesse wanted a video where it was just our runs through turn 9, which was the final floor of the second tier in the Realm Reborn for the raid content. And there's this really big tank buster called Ravenspeak, where it the boss takes a spear and just stabs the main tank, and 75% of their health bar goes down. And they're like, I just want a video where that happens and you just hear this detonation or this squeaky toy go off when they get hit by it. And so I was like, oh, that sounds really funny. So I had that in mind, but I didn't have a computer that could handle the editing and the recording and all that stuff. So eventually when I got my rig, that group was dead, but we still had everybody coming back that I pulled back from the depths of WoW or whatever they were doing at the time. Just because during that raid tier, the raid leader's girlfriend decided to leave the group in the middle of progression, like right as soon as we're about to finish the last phase of the fight. Oh. And so the whole thing just fell apart. So yeah, I pulled back Jesse to the game. Seabass eventually came back, and I was like, oh, hey, get Jesse in here. And then they had all their friends from WoW, Corey, Mike, Steve, Craig. So we had a full 8-man team with Uni, my wife, and we had a pretty good run for a little bit. And so I started making the videos, and I was like, right before Heaven's Word, we all got together and we tried T9 again. And so I made the video and just kind of took off from there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it was definitely much more well received than I think we originally thought it would, because a lot of people in the subreddit tend to either not really upvote or downvote or anything, or they're rather critical, and it went off almost like exclusively a hit, so we knew we were on to something.
Whee!
Yeah,
This is just the main Final Fantasy 14 subreddit?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
our FFXIV, and so that's where I've been and where we've been posting all our stuff. And the community's surprisingly was very good to us, because previously, like, I would make posts about, oh, I'd like to see Samurai, or I'd like to see Beastmaster, or I'd like to see Red Mage in the game.
I was about to say funny
retard.
I was about to say funny thing about Red Mage and
Happen.
Samurai.
Yeah. People were just like, on the forum. I mean, it's on the forums and on the subreddit. It might just be the community sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they're overly critical. You have those people that just, their nose in the air for no real reason. Like, they have no business having their nose in the air, but they feel like they're right. Like, you're intruding upon their space and everything that they hold to be sacred. For your suggestions. So they're like, you'll be in the corner crying with all the other Final Fantasy 11 fanboys because you're not ever going to get Red Mage. And I was like, suck it, you piece of shit. After all that stuff comes. And so, yeah, I haven't really gone, but I had the hugest smug-ass grin as soon as they're announcing all this stuff. I was like, they said it would never happen, and that's why these people are not doers. They're just trolling in the background on the Reddit.
And also Yoshi Piece setting Samurai in your lap for you.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. He's just like, and they're also going to be a melee DPS. I was like, yes, I'll take that. And they're like, and they'll use Monk Gear. Oh, I've already got that. I'll take that too. And yeah, it was great. And the rotations are going to be really similar to Monk. I was like, well, why don't we just change now? Why even wait? So it was.
Red mages are cool too, although really, call me when they get blue mages in the game, and then call me again when the blue mage implementation is
actually works.
not terrible. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying
Well,
I'm not
they've
saying
had
it was
some talks
bad
of
in
it.
11, but it wasn't really very blue magey.
I have very little experience with Blue Mage because I'll admit my first introduction into Final Fantasy was 10, and then I went into 11 because that was the first MMO I'd even heard of. So I was like, that's really cool. You get to play with people online, and so I did that, and I didn't even play it then. I played Red Mage and Monk and Thief, and that was it.
And I guess in 10, all you get is really his Kimari, and he can only use spells sometimes.
He was like the great value brand of Blue Mage. It's like he's kind of that, but not really at all. Also, as far as Blue Mage goes, I know they've had a lot of talks about wanting to put it in the game, but the one thing that's actually nice about the dev team is they're kind of very paranoid about getting the mythos and the identity of each class properly
They actually
done.
care about some other instead of some other MMOs.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people were actually really upset when Dark Knight ended up not, being a tank because of the fact that in previous games they would do things like self damage in order to deal extra damage, and it's nothing like that. But they still managed to play it somewhat to a mythos where it's believable, and I think that's what they're trying to go with everything. Samurai, I feel like they had a lot of rocky ground to cover because in 11, a lot of people liked it as a tank, and they didn't really know if they wanted to go that route. So if they do Blue Mage, I think it's going to be after a lot of them like being paranoid and trying to figure it out because they're going to be like, we don't want the community hating this.
Yeah, and enemy skill stuff doesn't work in every game.
Yeah. I know that even Astro, which is something that's fairly new territory, people are kind of hit and miss with it. But that's really the only one that I've heard a lot of stink about. You have your tanks who are like, fuck Paladin, and Paladin's like, fuck Warrior, and then everybody's like, fuck Dark Knights. And Dark Knights are in the corner just cutting their wrists, listening to Linkin Park. And
you say that as I'm a Paladin main who has Dark Knight at 60 for A12.
While all that's going on, you have the machinist off in the university getting their PhD in engineering because no one understands how the fuck that class works otherwise.
No shit.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do. I'm just hoping that Samurai is all the hype that I've been hoping that it is, or even what I haven't expected it to be. Kind of one of those things where they hand it to you. It's like I had no idea how much I wanted this until it was in my lap. So. Well, usually they do a pretty good job. I like the team and what they do and listening to the community and really trying. And I think a lot of the things that they don't fix, they're just like, if we try to implement these things, it's going to derail everything. So we're just going to hold tight until we can really get a handle on it. So as far as like Astro fixes go, because according to Seabass, it's only Band-Aid fixes. It's not really any core mechanic changes that really help it become its own class.
Yeah, the main problem with Astro is that the thing that people liked about Dark Knight was that it had a very different playstyle than Warrior and Paladin, being mana-based, and it was kind of the in-between with medium cooldowns that are medium in strength, medium in duration of how long they have to wait for the cooldown, and then Machinist was its own monster that was somewhat reminiscent of the new Bard, but completely different. And then when they put in Astro, it was just, hey, it's basically like your ghetto Walmart brand of White Mage or Scholar. They can't do either very well, but they can kind of do whichever one you need, and then they have RNG card mechanics, and then everyone's just like, why is this even a thing? So they don't even know how to fix it. And I think they've been waiting for the expansion to actually introduce new things to be able to, because no amount of buffs is going to fix something that was just designed wrong to begin with. So that's when I think they'll actually manage to fix it. For now, they've just been slapping giant band-aids going, be good, be good.
Yeah. Alright, so I guess, where did the Nest group come from? Did it exist before you started making videos, or is it something that you facilitated the making of videos?
Yeah, well, I had the free company just because, like I've said in other interviews, I don't play nice with other leads. So I'd be in different free companies and I would clash with the leadership every single time. And so I'd either end up leaving or they just tell me to go. So I was like, all right. So I just made my own. Free Company because I was kind of tired of it. And then I brought in CUS and Jesse after their Free Company had fallen apart, and then everybody else just kind of followed them because Corey was new to the game, Craig, Steve, new to the game, Mike was new to the game, so they didn't have any place that they were before, so they just kind of came. But I started using the Nest name to like give people an idea of who we were, because I just started like posting the videos again, and they got like massive amounts of downvotes, and just people I don't even think they really watched it. They just downvoted it. And then somebody posted in the comments like, you should have said that this was the group from the last time, because I didn't know that this was that group. And so then I just posted Nest again, and then it just got a whole bunch of upvotes. So the name has stuck with it so that people understand who we are, where it's coming from. At this point, most people just gloss over it if they don't like it. A few people will downvote. Very, very fewer will say anything.
They'll brave the comments of
yeah.
all of the fans.
Yeah, one of the newest ones was somebody asked, "What is Nest?" And one of the replies was annoying, and they got -35 downvote. Yeah, they were at -35 karma within 30 minutes. So
your little white knights do it well, don't they?
Oh yeah. It's a pretty good circle jerk we got going on the subreddit there.
They have to be a bit careful with it though, because I think the main thing with it is like with the whole identity thing for Nest and why they originally downvoted it with not knowing who it was is the Final Fantasy community kind of has what it likes, and then it doesn't really like imitations too much. Like you have your economic side, you have your podcasts, you have your funny videos, like you have Mary and Denmo, and then one of the recent things that happened was someone like took an inspiration from Drek's style of video and tried to copy it, and we had a bunch of our fans just going into the comments and being really nasty, and we were like, whoa, please calm down, it's completely okay.
Yeah, we don't like. I'm fine with people doing it. I was like, yeah, the game needs more humor, it needs more creators. It's been, I think that's a good thing, but like people just did not like it at all. And somebody was like, do you actually not like it when people? Because a lot of people are like coming to me and saying, you're copying, you're doing this or that. I'm like, I don't care, honestly, as long as you're not actually taking our video and then just voicing over it. Do whatever you want. I encourage you to be creative and be original and do what works for you, because otherwise people aren't going to like it very much. But personally, it doesn't bother me a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever works for getting the community to be healthy and make its own content, because if you can support others to do the same thing and up people's moods and make people laugh, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Also, hey Morph, I see you in the chat saying that she made her a Free Company for the same reasons I did, and we would probably clash really hard if we were in the same FC following each other's rules. So however that would work. So we've got a good relationship going on where we kind of go home to our own places at the end of the day, and then we come back together for raid, and it works out really well.
Indeed. So, are you guys friends outside of the game? Like, do you meet up anywhere, or is it just a game friendship type of thing?
I wish. No, these guys live in their houses, holes, basement, caves. What I don't know where you guys live.
Seabass lives in a dungeon.
That's good.
Yeah.
I live in a fishbowl. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Right. Just of salt, and then yeah, I've tried to get them to come over. I've tried to get Jesse to come over to play Dark Souls, not Dark Souls, Bloodborne with me, because he doesn't have a PS4. And he was like, I don't want to because planes scare me, or whatever shit he came up with. And then I was like, just then bus or something. He was like, no. I was like, whatever. And so I've been trying to think of a way to go out and do a meetup. I've been talking to them about the next Fan Fest in a couple of years. And so we'll see what they eventually do, but so far it's just been on the game.
as far as the stuff goes, we definitely do a lot outside of game. We play other games, we talk, we have each other's phone numbers and all. But like for a lot of us, it's more of we are kind of halfway across the country and we'd like to do things, but money kind of gets in the way.
Yeah.
Because Drac has made jokes about putting me in his man purse and carrying me around, and that actually would be really funny to actually let happen.
Yeah, we've considered it, and yet, okay, yeah. Well, we've met at FanFest more. Morva did go to the FanFest with her group, so I met her and Hans, but we aren't able to go and hang out because I'm in Arizona, she's in Washington, I believe. Seabass and Jesse are in Florida, Corey's in Texas, so we're kind of spread out over everywhere. But I've always said, like, as soon as I hit 250,000 subscribers, I'm gonna have everybody donate $1. And we're just gonna buy the Nest House, and then we'll all come together in one place. And
It's sort of a reality TV show.
Yeah, whatever works. I'm willing to try different things here, but yeah.
Yeah, we have a pretty similar issue, or I should say we're familiar with that feeling. We're kind of all over the place too.
Yeah, but that's kind of the beauty, isn't it, of these online games, is that people that you would never meet otherwise, you get to connect and make these relationships and friendships, and so hopefully we'll be able to close the gap at some point. But so far, I mean, it's very little different from other people who will, go to the bar after work and hang out and do their things. This is our hobby time. We get to hang out, talk with each other, and enjoy each other's company to a certain extent. I'm not sure what we would even do if we all close the gap. We'd just kind of be sitting there at computers anyway, not looking at each other.
There'd just be a computer room
Discord.
around.
All right, guys, what do we do? LAN party. Yeah.
At least Discord wouldn't be needed anymore.
Oh, man.
Where will we get our meme emojis, though? I don't think you could do that in real life.
Just
Somebody
make
with a
cardboard
whiteboard.
from each other.
Apparently, you guys have never heard of shadow puppets. I'm the old school dude here, so I'm going to crack wise about not your damn kids and getting off my lawn. All right.
But yeah, how do you guys keep the group together?
We don't. We've gone through quite a few people, and really, it's been a hazing process. Some of it has been egos. Some of it has been people not dealing with the stress very well. Some things are just, the typical life issues. Nothing bad actually happened between us, but they had other things to focus on and work on. And then, of course, you have those other people that, as Seabass puts it, they shit the bed. And people will come at me, and because I'm typically pretty laid back, I have my anxieties like everybody else, but I like to make people laugh. That's my prerogative. I'm not here to bust anybody's balls. I'm not here to come down on everybody. I have Jesse basically is able to do that. He's my fun police. And so they would come at me like, because I'm still the FC leader, the free company leader, the overall raid leader. I manage people who come in. I make sure to do damage control. I make sure that damage control isn't needed as much as I can. Very much PR kind of a thing. I put my people skills to use, but it doesn't always help. So sometimes it escalates to a point I don't know how to handle things the best. I'm still human. So sometimes things will escalate too far, and then people will shit the proverbial bed, and then they'll come at me very either aggressively or passive aggressively. I'm like, that's not going to fly. And then I confront them, and then they don't deal well with being confronted with that, and then they leave. So or I remove them. So it's more of there is a mutual respect between the members, and then the people who can respect each other stay, and then they work on themselves, and we help each other improve. So Seabass, Jesse, Corey are my core team, and they're their own check and balance. Seabass falls out of whack, Corey gets on his ass. Jesse falls out of whack, Seabass jumps on him, and just kind of goes in this circle. And then so they know each other a lot better, so I always go to them if something's happening or if I'm not sure. I'm like, can you talk to them, make sure everything's all right? I don't want anything to blow up, and I don't want to be reading into this too much, and they know how to deal with each other much better. And so it's really helped. And then the people who have come in now, just they have that common respect. They're not talking down to people if something happens, a mistake in the group. It's not you shitter, you fucked us all over, and you should know better than that, and all this stuff. It's more of like,
Also
okay,
known as the normal elitist attitude that you see in the rating scene.
Yeah.
I know it too well.
Yeah. So we try to be more constructive, and I really do think that we would have gotten a lot farther, a lot faster if we just had more time to raid. We raid 2 nights a week, 2 hours a night. Where the ideal for us anyway is 3 nights for 2 hours, so getting that extra day in there. So people are making you got the elitist crowd that are still like, oh, they're having fun, but look how far behind they are. I'm like, hey man, on content's on content.
Indeed.
But you have people that don't like it, that don't get it. But the people that do stick around, and our group's been very good so far.
Oh, definitely. One of the main things it's like we were talking about with keeping the group together. The hardest part about that when it comes to the stress is when you sit there for 2 hours and you're just dying to the same thing over and over again. Naturally, everyone's going to get a bit at each other's throats, and a lot of the damage control that me, Drac, and everyone's just had to generally deal with is keeping everything on a positive attitude, being able to laugh and basically have fun, because when it gets to the point where it's their fault, it's this person's fault, then you just kind of have the group fall apart.
So the comedy is to keep you from killing yourselves, basically.
Yeah, the group or the community has been really good. How they've rallied behind us, and the support that they've shown, and it's given us a little bit more of an incentive, because even our group, like I don't let them in on anything when I'm doing the editing process. Like I just keep them in the dark. I'll tease them every now and then, but like they have no idea what's coming unless they're directly involved in a gag, like Morv and Savannah. Corey's girlfriend, who did the voices for me for the machines chasing me, the ads. Drax Senpai, come back! And they're all chasing me down as they punch the life out of me. And then my wife, they all did the voices for that. So they knew what was going to happen, but then everybody else had no idea. So I got them all together, and they're always like, when do we get to watch the video? When do we get to watch the video? They're more excited about it than the fans themselves. So it's given a good amount of an extra payoff, I guess it is, because you've got the fans who are really nice and who are really awesome to us and give their encouraging words, and then we've got the video to laugh at ourselves. So it's just kind of we've attracted those minds around us, and hopefully this stays the way that it is. Just keeps improving. Because this is by far the best group that we've had, that we've gone through. We haven't lost anybody and then been like, darn, I wish they were still. If only we had them, we'd be progressing faster. No, this is the cream of the crop that we've got right now.
Mm-hmm.
You could say we were the original super fans. We're more excited about the videos than the fans are.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I was a fan of this show, and now I'm on staff. Dreams do come true, people.
Yeah, he paid me to be on the program.
You don't have to tell him about that.
Oh, but I do.
So, why do you decide to do smaller highlight style videos as opposed to like large chunk Let's Plays?
I've tried a few of them. I don't really know what to do as far as Final Fantasy 14 is concerned. There's not a whole lot to go for. I guess I could have. Like there are avenues like Morv does her voiceovers, but she does that on stream. I'm sure that she could, chunk that out and put that on her channel or whatever she wanted to do. But aside from like main story, there's not a whole lot to actually do like there's no real goal. You can go through a dungeon or whatever, but that gets repetitive and there's only so much. So I figured it just kind of fit. That's where all the fun happens. I've been waiting for more things. I was hoping that Feast would be something better, so that it would have a little bit more of that replay value, and we could keep going in and having fun and doing different quirky things with our team comps and PvP and all that stuff. But I want to do a few more skits. I have a few scripts written out for a few other things, but this patch cycle has just, I mean, we started beating things one after the other. And so I was always working on a raid video for the past 5 months.
When you get too good at the game.
Yeah, I know. So we're like, it takes me about a week and a half if I only have maybe 6 to 8 hours worth of footage to go through. But I mean, we were going through it like beating a fight in 2 nights, and then we'd beat the next fight in 2 nights, and then I was catching up on that. And then when I finally released the A10 video, we beat A11. And so then I'm working on the A11 video, and then I was catching up with all the A12 footage that we had, and then we finally beat it, and then the A12 video came out, but that one was twice as long as the other ones.
So, twice as many tears.
Oh yeah, especially at the end. I get choked up every time. I was editing, I was like, oh, this is amazing, just because we've come so far, and it was such a big event for us. It was really fun.
Similar to my group, we're on A12 now, and we were having such a hard time with Gordius. Like, we didn't even clear the first run. It's like, and now we're literally going back in tomorrow on 12.
So is just 12 different from 12 Savage, or
12 Savage is the hardest fight in the game currently.
Yeah.
Are they how are they different? Like
they're mechanically different.
Do you get to them differently?
You have to beat regular 12 in order to unlock the Savage tier, and then go up that to get to 12 Savage.
Okay.
In Heaven's Word, what they did is that they basically split it into 2 versions, kind of like how WoW has their heroic and legendary modes for their raids. So casual players could go through, get gear and stuff like that through 9 through 12.
And get the story.
1 through 12.
That was the main thing
the
they
story
wanted.
of it, yeah, and then they could get some decent gear, and then you would unlock the Savage mode, which was what it was really intended to be, kind of a thing, or what they really wanted it to be. So it's much harder mechanics, a lot harder hitting, higher DPS checks, a lot more stuff that pushes your group a little bit more.
It pushes player
rewards
mastery of their class to the maximum, and being able to do mechanics properly. Because 12 itself on Savage, the majority of the difficulty in the fight is that it's a giant mechanic dance, and especially towards the end of the fight, 1 death could actually cost you the fight. So it's entirely make sure everyone's on their A game. 1 slip up, you're dead. Everyone's dead.
Savage, where I learned the stance dance.
Yes. But through Gordius was just, it wasn't only really, really, really difficult and overtuned, but the mechanics were very dull in my mind.
It alienated a very large amount of the community because they figured DPS checks are hard to the point where you have to literally stand in other mechanics and just push out everything to beat it, and it alienated the majority of.
And yet they won't release parsers. Like, they don't condone parsers, and they're like, but you need to be on your top game. So I really would be surprised if the world firsts and the hardcore raiders who were beating that weren't using parsers to optimize their DPS, because we had no fucking clue what we were doing, and we're just like, why are we not beating the second floor of this? We had no way to go in and like check what people were doing, and like we did with 12, where we had people who knew how to use things like FF logs, where we were checking rotations. Somebody told you to use that rotation. That rotation only works if you have X amount of stat. So try this rotation instead. And people would be like, albeit hesitant, do it, try it out. Oh, that works out a whole lot better. I see my numbers going way up. Or you're using this spell too much, or you're using this at the wrong time, and let's try this strategy. And really, like, being able to pull together and look at it that way, we improved by leaps and bounds.
You fat-fingered this combo here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So you still have, you have to know the mechanics, and DPS wasn't what saved us, but our lives got way easier once we understood that, and Gordius required that. Midas was really fun. I liked the difficulty of Midas, but then they lowered it a little bit more, and that's where Creator was, and A12 is the final floor in that, which is still pretty difficult.
Up to 11 is fine. 11 and 12 will kick your ass. And don't give a shit.
Yeah, 11 is that proverbial wall. And still a good fight, but like I got into 12 after 11, and I was like, this is heaven, because I'm not reacting to something every 5 seconds. Because 11 is just mechanic and mechanic and mechanic and mechanic, and you're just like, stop, let me breathe, help me.
I hope your healers are awake.
You're right.
11 was such a problem that like it actually reacted rather poorly with about half of the player base who've managed to get to 11 for being such a wall, and even the dev team had came out and said optic sight was our worst possible idea because one of the main ways they made the fight harder was, hey, remember all of these deadly things on normal mode that you could see and move out of the way of, since the majority of Final Fantasy's AoE mechanics are telegraph based, so you can see it and move out of the way. It was like, yeah, no, that's just gone. Have fun.
Hope you got good at looking at tells, son.
Yeah. They started that in Sephiroth, and that was a lot of fun. I really like that fight still. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, we're just like, why is there no cast bar? Why is there no marker? Oh shit!
No.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Also known as regret.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Oh man. But so yeah, there's they really pushed us, and I'm hoping that we can continue to push forward. And I mean, it really depends on people's schedules, but I'd like to push for top 10, top 20 spots on either our world or our servers, depending on what we can do, what we're willing to do. Just being able to give the time to it. But as long as it's fun for us. And that's the thing that I've had a lot of comments lately that people are like, I tried the raiding scene and people got toxic and then our group fell apart and I stopped playing, but you guys made me want to play again. It's like, wow, am I going to get a check from Square?
Yeah, you guys actually got me into raiding. Because before I was even afraid to do the extreme primals, and now I'm raid tanking a 12S.
That's awesome.
That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, the main thing that's like a problem, which is actually a bit why we do more of a highlight rather than the whole let's play thing, because one, I mean, it's an MMO and a lot of MMOs are repetition, so it's not really exciting to watch someone just play the game when it's all repetition. And then the second part is the highlight stuff, which a good part of it is all of us feel really happy about making people laugh and feel motivated to play the game again. It's that like, hey, you can have fun with it even though it's the difficult content, and it gets people playing the game again. And it gets a lot of people who are like afraid from jumping to that high tier of this is the best you can do, get good, to hey, everyone can do it if we can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think some people are even using us as a measuring stick. Like we're competing with you guys to see if we can bit down at first. I was just like, wow.
Our group has failed.
Well, at least it sounds like you're close, and the nerfs aren't coming anytime soon. So,
yeah.
But yeah, like it was. We were really pushing it for that last little bit because we thought that the nerfs were coming in 3.55, and so we were like, this is our last haul on that Monday. We're like, let's do it. And so, yeah.
And then the health bar hit 0 and the tears hit the floor.
Yeah.
My tears were when the gear came out. There was nothing no one could use.
Yeah, I know, right? I got nothing. Anyway, but yeah.
So how much of the, like, for the videos is it, like, overplayed for the audience, or is this just normal raid caught on video?
That's just us. Like you'll see the same thing on our streams, and a lot of it. Like I can't tell you how many times Morv and Jesse and Corey were like, "Why aren't you recording right now? That was amazing. That was hilarious." And I'm just like, I don't have the space for all this footage.
Quick, everybody send direct 10 terabyte drives.
Yeah,
record all the things.
I really need to upgrade my stuff already. Even my storage stuff is getting full, but I was just like, and I don't even want to go through that much footage just because I tunnel vision so much, so I'm not checking what time something happened, which I should get better at that. It would make my life a whole lot easier. But yeah, I was just like, I can't do that. But it's all just it's us. Yeah. And that's part of the allure of it, is that it's natural, it's not pushed, it's not synthetic, it's just how we are.
Well, mostly anyway. The bit that's not there is a lot of the videos are like shining moments of either silliness or stupidity, and sometimes it's got people got the wrong idea, because I've actually had a couple people who are like, "Oh wow, it's you! I'm glad I didn't get Corey." I'm like, "Oh no, don't insult Corey. That'd make him mad. He's actually somewhat good at the game."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, it's perfectly natural of everything that happens.
So what's some of your favorite jokes or moments you guys have gotten on recording?
That we have or have not?
That you have.
Oh.
Would you rather answer the other question?
I don't know if I can. What's the maturity rating?
Anything as long as you don't go to racial epithets.
I really don't know. I really liked the conga line from this last one. That one really, I enjoyed that one. And I liked me getting deleted by Bahamut and stuff. That was really
You've been
that
deleted by
becoming-
more than Bahamut.
yeah, that becoming a running joke later on was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. So, what about you, Seabass?
Man, there's been so many like moments that were just perfect. I mean, honestly, the last video that came out was probably my favorite overall, just from the amount of different things. I mean, a lot of what like people like for me is, I guess I'm the embodiment of all of the petty, vengeful, like saltiness that the healer community can come up with. So when it comes to making all of these guys miserable, I don't know why they even bring me along at this point, but I mean, it's a lot
Everybody's
of
got
fun
to get their
being
daily amount of salt.
pretty much. My favorite moment out of all of that, though, is probably just some of the silly moments, like my shrieks of terror when trying to run in towards the boss, and then Drac editing it to where I fly across the screen. That absolutely killed me. Other than that, it was overriding some of the buffs that he had in order to mess with him. I really shouldn't be doing that in progression, but it was funny. That's why it was worth.
Yes. So where did the normal monk damage joke come from?
Oh, that came from A Realm Reborn, where Jesse was showing like how high he was critting his spirits within, and I was like, "You shouldn't be hitting those numbers. You're a tank." And he's like, "Look at how high I'm hitting this." I'm like, "You're a tank, though. Like, I don't think you're getting this. You don't do damage, and you're doing more than my bootshine crits. Like, stop doing that." And I mean, he plays monk too. I think he started as monk, so he knows, but he'll not give me anything as far as like support on the matter. So he's just like, yeah, if I break 4K, will you want to install the game? I was like, oh, I definitely will. And so that's been the running joke. If he hits a certain number by the end of Heaven's Word or by the expansion, I'll unsub and I won't be able to play the game anymore because it's broken.
Yeah.
And
the
then
thing that's the double factor on that is Monk is kind of in a rather poor opinion of the majority of the community. And while the joke is funny, a lot of people have taken it in the wrong direction. Like Drac was saying, it's more of the Paladin was hitting for more and big numbers than he was. But in reality, it's Monks hit really fast and they have really high DPS. It's just you'll never hit for an actual large number. If you want to go do that, play Black Mage and stroke the EP.
Yeah.
Yeah, our monk is insane. So yeah, that's kind of where I was confused on that one.
Yeah, like the overall the final parse numbers are I'm usually in the top, if not Raisin, our summoner. So yeah, people were like, "Oh, you're not doing any actual real damage." I'm like, "No, that's not the joke. It's that I'm not doing big numbers." So it's all that the auto attacks and the skill speed and all that stuff that improves with Grease Lightning. But they're just like, "Oh, monks just don't do damage." I'm like, "That's okay." The joke is, so sometimes I have to sit people down and be like, "This is why it's funny, not that monks are just bad," which is how people are trying to take it. And people will go overboard. I'm just like, I don't know what I was talking about, but I was saying something about complaining about either working out or being sore or something, and then they're like, monk damage joke. I was like, you're not even trying at this point. You're just doing it for a cheap ass laugh, and it's not working. So, but yeah.
So where did the Thunder Buddies term come from? Is that something coined in the Thornton thing, or was that after?
I believe it was Thornton. Because Corey would always come and stack on me when there was those AoEs, and he'd hit me with them both. And he'd be like, "Thunder Buddy," and he'd run over to me and hit me with it. And so that was every time he wants to stack on me with a mechanic, it's Thunder Buddies. ever
Oh,
since
yeah.
then. And so we put it on a shirt, and that actually does pretty well.
Yeah, the actual origination of the joke has gone a long way because originally, if you see in the movie, I think it was Ted, there was the Thunder
Yeah, it was
Buddy
Ted.
song. Yeah, and that's kind of where it came from, but it evolved into its own thing, really.
Yeah, we made it our own.
Indeed. So what's the story of Seabass always giving Drek the arrow card?
That's a fun one.
That started in 3.3, 3.2.
No, I think that's been since we started.
Has
Like
it?
I think it's been since Heavensward.
Because I knew that the joke happened during the duck penis boss in the library.
Yeah. Well, it got even more amplified after they buffed the other cards and made it so Arrow is kind of inferior. So it's you're getting the Walmart brand of the good card, and it messes with Drax. So that's where half of the humor from it comes from.
Yeah, it's because you have monks that are already very high skill speed, so they're burning through their TP really, really fast. And so then he gives me arrow, and so I'm going like twice as fast. I'm like hitting a button every second, and then my TP bar just disappears. I'm like, please give it back. All my
Giving
TP
him a
that
very
I've
large
lost.
dose of speed.
Yeah. And then I come down from it, and I'm just like, why is everything so slow?
So now that you guys beat A12, will there be a break in videos till Stormblood, or are there other things planned?
I want to plan it. I have other things that I want to do. I still have Zervan footage that I was going to do first, but the demand was so high for A12, and after putting so much effort into the video and the emotional investment, I just couldn't hold off on showing everybody my baby. So we'll have Zervan, and then I have a few things that I'm working on for like a spoof guides. Other creators have done it, like the Larry Zor and Very Merry. They've done their kind of things. I'm doing a different take on it, just because I watched the Hive Leader's Guide to Healing. They showed me, Seabass and Jesse showed me that way back, and so I want to take that infomercial type direction with it and just make people cringe because they're just like, that's not how you play the class, and you know it. So I'm hoping to make people vomit.
Oh yeah, I mean, as far as like what's left for us to make with all of the content down, because like we said before, when it comes to showing videos, you can't really just be like, oh, let's play. No one would watch that. It either has to be something like comedy based or our silly progression, because the main thing that's different from the other videos is like other videos of like the clears and stuff, generally speaking, no one will either watch it or really be impressed, and like it's, oh, you're world first. So it's like we kind of got our times through of the first clears of us doing the stuff and it being silly and just all of the chaos from that, but afterwards everything just comes down to a repetition of you just killing it. So all we can do now is really just go back and do the old stuff, or do like self-inhibited restrictions, like have all of us be on classes we're really bad at just to see the laugh for it, or do the what like Drek was saying with the silly skits and stuff. So there's a couple directions to go, but I don't think we're done quite yet.
Yeah.
All right. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but if you want to talk a little bit about your D&D campaign you have going that you've been streaming for a while.
Yeah, Seabass is our DM there. Some people were talking about wanting to see us in like a Final Fantasy based one. We didn't take that route. We're still in 5e, but I still kind of made my character along the lines of a dragon person that's a monk with the name Draconis. And we've got Corey, Mike is in there as well, and Corey's girlfriend Savannah is with us, and we've been having fun just going through Seabass's crazy adventure for us. And,
the dice rolls.
yeah, the monk damage jokes have taken its toll, because I rolled double nat ones on a lightning breath last night. And oh my god, I left the room. I was like, I can't play this fucking game anymore. This is such bullshit.
The jokes can't write themselves. The game
I
does it for me.
It did it for me. But it's been fun, and people seem to enjoy it. I mean, not nearly as much as the people, as people watching Final Fantasy stuff, but people come on, yo, you're not playing Final Fantasy? I'm like, I don't have anything to do on Final Fantasy. Sometimes I'll just be.
I was about to say, we've literally killed God. What more do you want from us?
Yeah, the time god has been defeated. What do you want?
You want us
Yeah,
to get punched in A8.
Sometimes I'll just get on and I'll start doing like crafting or something, and then I'll just be talking to people, more of a social stream, and people show up in droves to that. So I'm like, I don't know, I don't even get what you guys want anymore. Just put on a silly hat and play freaking, what is it, Lords of Verminion. See how long people can handle that.
People show up and they're like, "Dance for me, monkey," and then drag
Yeah.
us to death.
Just as long as Final Fantasy's open in the background, they're fine. So,
Yeah. The D&D stuff, it's more of like, it's for those people who like love our personalities enough to where they want a fresh breath of air of something different. Other than that, it's just more of the D&Ds for their enjoyment thing. I get a lot of fun like thinking about how to surprise them and twist it in the story and all of that. I mean, I'd feel like a lot of pressure that people actually are interested and watch the stream. I wasn't expecting that to begin with, but hey, if people like it, I'll keep doing it.
Well, thank you guys for coming out tonight. It's been real fun.
No, thanks for having us.
No problem. I enjoyed it.
So, Mac, you guys have anything else you want to say real quick, or?
I'll give the roundtable crew a chance to speak first.
I'm good.
I feel like I learned something, although I still don't know much about Final Fantasy XIV.
Don't worry, I'll teach you, scrub.
Like I said, I played it for about a hot minute there, but I was able to follow along mostly with what you guys were talking about. This was pretty great, and I'm also very excited that you guys were able to come out for our first interview in quite some time. So,
oh yeah, sure.
All right.
Problem. I enjoyed it.
Yay! I didn't
All
fail.
Well, you did in the sense that we don't have a guest lined up for next week yet. So.
Stonewall of silence is not my problem.
But we'll talk about that after class.
All right, thanks for having us, guys. I appreciate the questions and all that stuff. It's good to be able to talk about this stuff in a context where I don't have to deal with it, putting it on. So I enjoy the pressure of getting taken off every now and then.
There you go. All right. Well, be sure to tune in next week for our show where we talk about stuff and things as always. And of course, on behalf of the crew at Moonhawk Studios Presents and our guests tonight, thanks for listening and stay safe out there, kids.